Hey, what's up? It's your boy Eric, and you're live here in another episode of the Amazing Eric Sports Show. Look, I'm not yelling, I'm not screaming today because this is a real serious subject. So we're not going to take the tone really high and do our normal Amazing Eric Sports and Labs thing. We're going to keep this one real serious because this is something that's serious to talk about. This is about Antonio Brown and the recent text message that we have seen from his baby mother, where he basically told her to keep his 9-year-old son the F away from him. Now, there are so many different directions to go on this, and I think the important thing here is to try to keep a level head about this because, like many things in life, you have to understand there are two sides to every story, three sides to most. What I mean by that is we saw a piece of a text where he said something that I am not at all defending, that I do not at all support, but I am just going to point out that she just released a piece of a text message conversation. We don't know all the things that were said above. We don't know all the things that were said afterwards. So we do need to keep that in mind. Now, unless you know Antonio Brown and you know her personally, it's hard to make a decision as to what actually is really going on here because we don't really know. So I think we need to keep that in mind too, but we can look at it, we can analyze it, we can try to talk about it a bit. I think it speaks to something bigger. There are a few things I want to talk about because this speaks to something bigger here. The first thing is like I said, it's so much easier to learn from other people. I don't know why as human beings we're like that. We can make all the mistakes and they're right in front of us. We can be doing it. We don't even see it. We don't even see it. We don't even notice it. But other people's mistakes, we go, whoa, look at that mistake. Whoa, you know, the old saying, not trying to be too gross, but if you're sitting in the bathroom and you have to go to the bathroom and it's not that bad to you and somebody else walks down the hall and they're like, ooh, Lord Jesus, what's going on in that bathroom? That's because for whatever reason, we don't smell our own mess, literally speaking right now. It's just that's how we are as humans. We always see fault in another man before we can see the fault in ourselves. And so what you need to do, I think, is we all need to do what we need to do is we need to learn from other people when they do things and mistakes. We can try to learn from them. The first thing I noticed when I said this, and the reason I say that is because how many times in life have all of us, I'm sure all of us have been guilty of this. You get really mad. You're having a text conversation. It can be with your wife, your girlfriend, your baby mama, your mom, your dad, your coworker, and you just go off in a text message and you say way too much. And then you look back and you say, I didn't even really mean that. I was just really mad. I was just really ticked off. So I said something I really didn't mean. Now, again, I'm not saying that's Antonio Brown's situation. He could have meant that. So I'm not trying to defend what he said. I'm just saying once you tweet something, once you text something, once we put a YouTube video up about something, it's out there. The whole world's going to see it. So we have to remember in these times when you get really mad, you can't always say everything that's coming to your head because sometimes you want to take it back. And it's there. They have an old saying in the country when I came up that says you drop your water. Like you had a bucket of water in your hand and you drop the water on the ground. You cannot pick that water up off the ground and put it back in the bucket. It's on the ground. Everybody's going to know it. Everybody's going to see the tweet, just like we saw Antonio Brown's tweet. The second part of this is I saw the statement released from Antonio Brown where he now is talking about his child support. I think it's great. And the first thing you should do is financially provide for your child. Now, I don't know if he was, but if you're looking for, as a multi-million-dollar athlete, if you're looking for somebody to say, oh, you're a great dad because you pay X amount of dollars, I don't even want to put the dollar amounts out because I don't like to count other men's money. But if you're, I'm not going to say the dollar amounts, but he just let it be known that he pays a lot of money in child support. Let's just say that. That's great. You're doing your responsibility. You're providing for your kid. I'm not saying Antonio Brown meant it like this, but there's so much more to parenting or being a father than just providing financial support to a kid. It's great to do it. Props to you, bro, for doing it. But that's just the start of it. So much more than that. It's funny this came up. It's really funny because this speaks to fatherhood. And I'm not necessarily talking about him. I'm just talking about fatherhood in general. I just saw a special. I was watching this documentary the other day and they had these people from the street. They had homeless people. They had drug addicts. They had prostitutes. They had girls who maybe do prostitution, they do porn, and they strip, and they do all this different type of things for money. And the one thing I was noticing, they had guys and girls on there, daddy issues. I was like, wow, almost everybody when they would break down and cry. Well, it was either my dad touched me, he raped me, or it was my uncle or somebody touched me, my dad knew about it and he didn't protect me, or my dad ignored me, or my dad did this, or my dad beat me, or my dad left and he wasn't there, or my dad. It was so many daddy issues. So if we're being honest with ourselves, that tells us fatherhood is extremely important. The sad thing is people try to make this a black issue. Well, the black father, no, I saw people of every race in there. Fatherhood is important in every community. I know that people say we need to make a stand and say fatherhood is important in the black community, because that's true. They're not lying when they say that fatherhood is important in the black community. But I would rather say fatherhood is important in the human community, because it's very, very important. Now, me, I'm a person that I talk to my dad almost every day. I grew up with my dad my whole life. He was always there. He's still there now. I can talk to him anytime I have a problem. As a grown man, he's going to be there to help me. So that never was an issue for me. The transition from being a father to, because it wasn't that hard for me because of that situation. Growing up in that kind of environment, having dad there, it just seemed like this is the way you do as a father. So it comes, you can feel like it comes natural in certain situations. But what I'm really impressed by, what I really have been impressed by the most of my life, I have friends who are like this, is people, my friends, my brothers, and people I even know. Some people, I hear your stories here on YouTube. I'm super impressed by the man whose dad wasn't there for him. And he went through that pain of his dad not being there for him. And he decided to not carry that curse on. He let that generational curse stop with him, because he handled his business and he is being a father. He's there for his kids. He's doing everything it takes so he won't pass on to his kids the pain that he received from not having his dad in his life. I mean, if I could, I would stand up and give a standing ovation to every father like that. I don't know Antonio Brown's situation. I don't know what happened with his father, but I will say this. If Antonio Brown meant that in any type of way, that's something he really needs to check himself about. I'm just going to be real. Now, I will say that I do think it's a possibility that we just got a screen grab here and Antonio could have written that, and now he could be looking at that being like, dang, man, I said that. Now I'm going to have to face my son about this one day. This is not going to be cool with my son. I'm going to have to explain this. We've all said things that we wish we can take back. So the lesson here, I think, if we can get a lesson out of this, is watch what we say, because when you say it or you text it, it's there forever. And most importantly, he's probably going to have to explain that to his son one day. And instead of everybody coming to this situation, attacking him, attacking everybody involved, we should have some prayer and some positive thoughts, hoping that they can get this worked out, because kids need their fathers. That's the thing. We need their fathers. If we have kids out there, fellas, let's just go out there. Let's try to be fathers. Let's try to make sure we're doing that. And let's also hope the best for this. Let's try to be optimistic. Instead of just slaying him, let's try to hope that this was just a moment of weakness for him. And if it wasn't a moment of weakness from him, let's pray and hope that this guy learns and gets it together, because his kids are going to really need him, because all of our kids really need us. All right, that's all I got to say on it. I just had a few thoughts on that. We'll be back to our hollering and screaming Eric later, but we had to keep it real, keep it low, bring it to you. It's your boy E signing out. Until the next one. Peace.